Today we're going to figure out how to go from hours to empire, where you're stop trading hours of work, hourly wages, and things like that into building an actual business, building an empire. And this will help you escape freelancing to some degree. So freelancing is great. It's worked for me for a long time. I've done it. I've made some extra money doing it. It's helped me pay down debt, make a lot of investments, those types of things. But eventually what happens in any business is you kind of get stuck in a cycle or a trap. So service-based businesses are easy to start because they don't take a lot of overhead, and you can basically take the skills you have today and start finding clients, whether you're going to Upwork or just finding them within your network and offering those services, and you've got a business and you're making money. They don't require a lot to go with it, and you can do it within no time, right? But what happens is you'll get stuck in this cycle of trading hours for money over and over and over and over. And again, that's nice sometimes, but what we want to do is we want to break out of that cycle and learn how to productize what you're doing. I've been in that cycle myself. I do consulting and I still do it because sometimes it's nice to have that extra income. But I've also created lots of products around those services that I can sell and still do sell today. Those products in a good month make me $2,000 or $3,000, of which I've already done the effort with. Providing a service, you just have to, again, we're back to trading hours for dollars, and you have to log that time to make it work. Whereas with products, it takes some time on the front end to build them out, but once you build them out, if you're selling them, like I've been fortunate enough to do, they just create money. And honestly, it is a lot of fun to get an email saying I've had a sale for a product that I created multiple years ago, and still be making money off of it versus having to trade that time for dollars. So we're going to step through a couple of things where you can think about taking a service that you have and turning it into a productized offering. So we're, just as a reminder, this is the 30-day founder blueprint. We're still in week one where we're ideating. Again, you can start a business with a service, but I want you to already be thinking about how you're going to productize that later on. So the first thing we're going to do in the blueprint is we're going to take your signature service that you offer. So we've talked before about being a generalist, how that's challenging. You need to niche down, find your market that you're going to serve, find your service that you're going to offer. What I want you to do is I want you to audit your past work and think about the things, the skill sets that you offer, and look for patterns in those. So let's say for me, I look at the pattern and I go, oh, it's finance. I have a finance background. I was a C-level banking executive. I used to be a financial advisor. I used to do bookkeeping. All those tie together with finance, right? So you're going to look at that work and understand what it is, the service that you've been offering, and figure out how you can repeat that, right? Okay, then step two, we're going to take that service and we're going to think about what are the top most common things that you have to do to deliver that service. So one of the things I've done is I tend to attract a lot of early stage startup founders, early stage entrepreneurs. And what I did was when I was providing services to them in consulting, I would pay attention to the most common questions that I got. So one of which is how to fundraise, which we're going to talk about in week 3 of this 30-day founder blueprint. So fundraising was a common question. How do I get some capital that I need to actually grow this business? And I could work with those folks, and sometimes I do. I help them create their documentation. I help them look for investors and all those things. That's a service that I offer, but not everyone can afford that service or what I charge for that service. So what I did to productize it was I took that service and broke it down into the most common questions that I get, and then I created digital assets around that. So I created a course. I've written books about fundraising. All these things that are productizing the service that I offer, I created them, and then I would sell them one off, and then I also bundled them together and sold them as part of a package, okay? So it's very, very important to do, to think about how you're going to take this service that you have, and instead of trading time for dollars, productize it into a thing. My example should really hit home for you. So just to recap, you're going to find your signature service, the thing that you offer you're really good at, you're as good as, if not better than anybody else. One way to think about that is, what is it that people call you asking for help with? I get called and asked about, again, startups all the time. Then you're going to take the most frequently asked questions. You're going to take those and turn them into a product. That is going to take some effort. Okay, so just recording these videos sometimes are 5 to 10 minutes. Recording these takes me more than 5 or 10 minutes. I have to think about the outline. I have to do the thumbnail. I have to record it. I have to edit it. I have to do all these different things. So it's going to take you some time to turn your service into a product, but it'll pay off in the long run, because then in the long run, as I said, you'll just get what I call mailbox money, where people are buying your product, and yes, you put in time on the front end to do it, but it just keeps coming over and over and over. So find your signature service, create your product, build it, put it on a platform in which you can sell it. There's all kinds of places you can do this. And then you need to build your systems where you can keep doing that. So one of the other things you're going to want to do once you productize your signature service is then look for other products that you can create that go around it. So not only do I have books and courses on startup fundraising, but the second most common thing I get is questions about how to take products to market. So I recorded those types of content as well, and sell and productize those types of content as well. So as we're getting close to the end of the first week of the 30-Day Founder Blueprint, we're still in the ideation stage, so you're not going to act on this yet. I just want you to take today's video, and your call to action is to sit down and think about what your signature service might look like, and then so that in the future you don't get stuck in this hamster wheel of trading money for time, or trading your time for money. I want you to think about how you could productize it. What could it be? We're not going to start building that yet, but as we get into the validation stage, we will build it, we will try and sell it, and we will get feedback on it. That's coming up in week 2 is validation. Week 3 is going to be fundraising. Week 4 is going to be taking all of that to market. Today, finish the video, subscribe if you haven't already, go sit down, figure out what your signature service is, and then think through how you could productize that. I wish I had productized my services early. I probably went 5 or 6 years selling my time for money before I productized everything. And now I have both tracks in place, and it helps create the type of business that I want. Hope that helps. Have a great day.